You're watching Meet the Movie Press. This week, we're going to be talking about Benicio del Toro potentially doing the Predator movie, Fox doing a Stan Lee biopic, and maybe John Lithgow as the Joker, plus the Toronto Film Festival. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Welcome back.
Good morning, Simon.
How are you?
I am exhausted.
I know. You've been very busy this week.
I have not slept more than like 5 hours in the past 10 days.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think. Yeah.
Because you're working, not because of
Right.
exceptional sexual prowess.
Yes, I have been busy, hard at work, but
Yeah.
it's good to be back on American soil.
Yeah.
Kiss that ground at LAX.
How was the festival, eh? What was that about?
I'm sorry. I can't tell you. No. It was good. I had a good time.
Nice.
I caught a midnight every night.
Good. That's pretty brave.
It was
with
a
your
lot.
schedule.
It was a real dedication this year.
How many times did you oversleep?
None really. I was up by 10. I would say each morning. So
Up by 10.
yeah.
Nice.
When you're going to bed at 4 or 5
That's
in the
pretty
morning.
good. Yeah.
But yeah, so lots of Toronto stuff to discuss, and we're
Yep.
going to take you through that. We're going to be talking about big franchises, Star Wars 8,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Dune, Pacific Rim, Justice League, all kinds of stuff.
So much stuff this week. Big stuff.
But yeah, let's start with Toronto.
Yep.
So give me the questions. What do you want to know, big guy?
Okay,
what
so
are you curious about?
your top 3 things from Toronto this year.
All right. La La Land.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, believe the hype.
Everybody's
It was
very excited.
It was
about
that good, and
Yeah.
I'm not a big musicals kind of guy. They are excellent together. Emma Stone is wonderful. I mean, Damien Chazelle just did an amazing job with this movie, and I'm excited for all you guys to get a chance to see it in the coming weeks and months, because I'm sure they're going to be screening the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think Lionsgate really knows that it has something here. And it's just, if you live in Los Angeles, you certainly know, you'll recognize the kinds of people who are in the movie.
Right.
So, I had a lot of fun with that one. A Monster Calls, I was devastated by. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't. Both those films are on my list of films that I really, really want to see.
Yeah, I was
At
just
the earliest opportunity.
on the floor. Jackie with Natalie Portman, she's been getting a lot of buzz.
Now, people expected there to be some buzz about that film, but I don't think they expected there to be quite the level of buzz and interest in that film.
I thought she was really good. You know,
Yeah.
people say that they can't get past how she looks or sounds. I didn't really know Jackie Kennedy the way, people who are a little bit older than myself may. So I totally bought it. Maybe Rachel Weisz looks more like Jackie Kennedy, but I thought Natalie Portman did an amazing job.
Great.
Arrival and Nocturnal Animals, both with Amy Adams.
And what I saw
enjoy
coming out
both.
of a lot of things, a lot of reports from that movie was the fact that people were, as I predicted previously, that it was actually, it's a great sci-fi movie, but it's also, nicely cerebral, but in an approachable way. It does have that intelligence to it that's not necessarily deep sci-fi nerdery.
Yeah, like...
Bingo.
Ooh. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I know every time I say something that's correct, can we have a little sound effect?
I enjoyed Arrival. It is very cerebral. It is very adult. I don't want to say that it's slow, but it's not like a wham bam kind of alien invasion movie. But it was very intelligent, and it has a very powerful ending. Amy Adams is terrific, and then Tom Ford's Nocturnal Animals. It's her and Jake Gyllenhaal, and it's a little bit darker and more like of a revenge movie. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Michael Shannon are both fantastic in that film. I saw Moonlight.
Okay.
Which I thought was good, but I didn't love it. I didn't love it the way that I thought I was going to. I don't know if the triptych necessarily worked for me.
Okay.
It's a very specific approach to storytelling. Sometimes it works, like Place Beyond the Pines. I'm not going to say that this didn't work, but Moonlight, I had very high hopes for. Have you seen that trailer?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm certainly intrigued by it.
Yeah, it's a small film, but I think
it didn't hit me as like, oh, okay, I really must make an effort to see that at the theatre.
Okay.
It's a film that I would like to catch at some point, but it's not the one that was like, I must go and see it at the theatre. But if I get the chance to see it, I would certainly be more than willing to give 2 hours purely out of curiosity.
Raw was my favorite midnight movie.
Okay.
It's a French cannibal movie about a vegetarian.
Another one?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
this
those
one
films
is
are like
special.
buses.
This one is special.
Right.
It's about this girl. She's a vegetarian. She goes off to veterinary school with her sister, and part of, since you're going to be working with animals, you have to eat the meat. They make her eat a piece of meat, and from there it like unlocks something inside her that makes her crave flesh. And it was really terrific, very artful. It was a Cannes, so it's classy.
Are they about to remake it with The Rock and Kevin Hart
as the cannibals,
as the cannibal
the two
vets?
at veterinary school? No, but I'll tell you, if they did remake it, it would
I'd
be
still
a
watch
great
that.
role for an American actress. The Belko Experiment. This was a fun one.
I didn't hear about that.
This one's produced by James Gunn.
Oh, okay. He's done a couple of films.
Right. He's a guardian of our fanboy galaxy.
Smaller film for him. Back to that smaller.
Well, he produced this one. Greg McLean directed it. It is set in this American corporation down in Colombia, and one day, so the employees are half American, half Colombian, or whatever. And one day the Colombians don't show up. It's just everybody else, and then these metal walls go up over the building, and a voice comes over the intercom and is like, "We're downsizing. Essentially, we got 80 people in the building. In 2 hours, there needs to be 50 people." And if you don't, start killing each other, we're going to kill you, because all the Americans have the chip in their head in case they're kidnapped, down in Colombia, that the Colombians don't have that chip. And, of course, the chip can, self-explode. So it's a little like Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Meets this tiny movie, Operation Endgame, meets, I don't know. It was it was a lot of fun. Perfect midnight movie.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
I'll speed these along.
Okay.
Colossal with Anne Hathaway. Have you heard anything about that?
I've heard a little bit about it.
I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Nacho Vigalondo movie where she's like she can sort of control this monster in South Korea. And Jason Sudeikis is really interesting. And Headshot.
That's something you don't hear very often.
I know.
Jason Sudeikis is very interesting in this.
I was a doubter.
Even he's like, fucking what?
No, he goes dark here. It's
Cool.
different for him.
Now I'm interested.
Are you a fan of the Raid movies?
Yes, very much so.
Well, I saw Iko Uwais, who's the star of those films, in this movie Headshot. That was a blast. He's like an amnesiac, like a Jason Bourne who can't remember who he is, but he was like a sort of henchman sort of guy for this badass. And anyways, that was awesome.
So that's like the Bourne assistant.
What about the Yes,
the Bourne PA.
Did you see The Magnificent Seven?
I did.
What did you think?
I saw it last night. Now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I literally saw it last night with my eyes. This is a film that I wasn't particularly excited about. I'm not a big fan of Westerns. I don't feel any particular affection with the original, which is obviously not an original movie, it's a remake. I was so pleasantly surprised by this. Who is that? Is that Spielberg?
I really need to take this call. I really need to take this call.
Do you want to take it live? No?
No,
yeah?
I can't take this call live.
Okay. No?
Oh, fuck. All right.
Inconvenient, man.
This is gonna bum me out.
Was that Jason Sudeikis saying, hang on, I've heard you thought I was interesting?
I'm so tempted to run off the air right now, but
Okay.
I can't do it to you guys.
But yeah, so I'm not a fan of Westerns. I was kind of intrigued in this movie. I'm not a big fan of the work of the director, but this film was one of the films that I've had the most fun with this year. The one that has given me one of the films that's given me the most enjoyment watching a film.
Isn't it fun?
And
See,
I
I got shit for liking this movie. It's
No.
fun.
Is it perfect cinema? No, it's not. But it's the first film in a long time where during the finale, I whooped and I hollered, and so did some of the audience. And I'm British. I don't do that, but I genuinely got. I got so sucked into it. I had so much fun with it. And for me, the best part is actually not necessarily the Chris Pratts, the Denzel Washingtons, etc., etc. It's some of the other cast.
Yes,
that are
that's
in
what
it.
I said too.
So,
Red Harvest and fucking Billy Rocks.
Yeah, Byung-Han Lee.
Yeah, he's so good.
Who, if you aren't familiar with him, he's a guy who's a South Korean film star. He's done a number of films in Hollywood over the years where he's kind of had, medium roles in. The G.I. Joe movies he was in. Also, my favorite film of him is I Saw the Devil, which is a brilliant Korean revenge film. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I think if he was given some absolutely solid American action movies, he could be such a huge star. He's not just... One issue I had within this was
I like him.
Here's the Asian guy. Let's get him to do some kind of Asian stuff with knives and stuff like that, and do the for want of a better phrase, the chop socky kind of stuff.
Take it away. I am going to listen to the voicemail.
Okay,
I have
cool.
to listen to the voicemail you're on for just 30 seconds.
So he kind of does that, and it was kind of a disappointment because he's actually a really good actor. He's a really solid actor, and I've seen in his Korean stuff that he can genuinely give a really, really solid performance as an actor. Here, he does a fantastic job, and he steals most of the scenes that he's in. I would love to see him become way more of a mainstream action talent in Hollywood cinema. Also, you mentioned the guy who's for want of the Western movies, the Red Indian guy who they discover. Obviously, he's Native American. They discover on their journey, on their way to their quest. Absolutely fantastic. A guy that I was not aware of before. Martin Sensmeyer?
Yeah, he was like my favorite.
So cool. Effortlessly cool. And even when scenes where he didn't say anything, he could just... His face.
I can see him like
genius.
On the tail end of an Expendables poster.
Oh my God!
He's got something. He's interesting.
And then Manuel Garcia Rufo.
See, he was like a kind of a blank for me.
See, I enjoyed him. I would like to see more. I would like to see more of him, develop him a little bit more. But I loved him. Vincent D'Onofrio was genius.
He's great. Makes some good choices.
I just genuinely loved this film. It is possibly... it's the first film, I was saying this to Ethan last week, it's one of the first films this year that I've actually thought I would buy that on Blu-ray, and I would watch it, and I would watch the extras, and I would really get kind of sucked into that and want to know more about it. I had so much fun with that movie. I was not expecting to. And my late father, was a big fan of Westerns, and it's probably the first time in 26 years since he passed that I would have loved to have watched a film with my dad and watch him enjoy that movie. I thought it was just absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. I loved it. Great fun. That and Sully are probably two of my most favourite films of the last couple of months. Genuinely engaging and entertaining. Also out this week is Blair Witch, which I haven't seen, but you have seen.
Oh, I thought you had. Okay,
no, I haven't seen that, unfortunately. It opened last night, previews last night. Now, I was expecting stronger results from this for previews or box office because there's been a lot of talk about it. There appears to be blanket coverage for media. It only took 765,000 last night. I would have...
it didn't even crack a mill?
Didn't crack a million.
On opening night? Wow.
I was genuinely quite surprised with that. Because a lot of people are predicting that this weekend, that is going to be the one that's going to knock Sully off the top and beat the other films, including Magnificent Seven and Bridget Jones, etc. And it just that seems low.
But you know what?
For me,
it's a school night. I don't know.
It is.
I mean, I know this is rated R, so technically kids aren't supposed to be buying tickets anyways. But I imagine that business will kick up Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen other R-rated movies bring in... And horror has a very dedicated following who tend to turn out...
The thing about it's like, how do you even see this movie during the day? How do you sell a single ticket to this movie during the daylight?
I would go and... I will, because I haven't seen it, and I do want to see it, I will go and see it on my own in the daytime next week.
Yeah.
Because I'm lonely. That's what I do.
All right. So, yeah, Blair Witch was a disappointment. I just felt like, and you guys, I've professed my love for Adam and Simon on this show before.
Adam is a brilliant director.
I've said it for years. If I had $5 million, I would just give it to him and let him do his thing. This movie, though, just hews so closely to the original. It just takes everything that's interesting and repeats it and it barely advances any mythology or expanding, on anything, and just it didn't do much that was new. And looking back on it, I really was disappointed, unfortunately.
I think a lot of people, the initial reaction, obviously the first time it was screened and revealed as being Blair Witch was at Comic-Con. And a lot of people went into the film, it was called The Woods at that point.
Right.
I think some of the reaction was because people didn't know it was Blair Witch. I think they went in, they're like, oh, fucking hell, this is amazing. And it's that shock and awe element where everything's a bit of a surprise. It's not a film that you're expecting to see, and I think perhaps now when we're seeing some later reviews, they are a little bit more measured because you know what you're seeing, which I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because then it does mean that some people are going in with a preconception. But it can't be worse than Book of Shadows, even if it wasn't very good. But I will be giving this film my money. Of all the films, it's funny, of all the films that are coming out this weekend, this is the one that I thought I wanted to see most at preview. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'll give my money to Magnificent Seven to see, because, I'm not particularly excited about that. But actually, I would have rather have given my money to Magnificent Seven than Blair Witch, because that turned out to be an absolutely amazing film, but hindsight's a wonderful thing. Also out this weekend, Bridget Jones's Baby. I know you've been looking forward to this one. I saw this on Tuesday.
Really? How was it?
It's okay. It's fine.
Have you seen the other ones?
Yeah, I have. I love the first one.
That's amazing.
I really enjoy it. In fact, when I went to see the first one, I saw it in Cambridge in the UK, and I was dating a girl at the time. Unbelievable in itself. I know. And she looked at the time very much like Renée Zellweger. So when we left the theatre, we went for dinner locally, and it was like, oh shit, it's Renée Zellweger. It wasn't. And anyway, she left me. Sad story. But this is more like the first one. It's better than the second one, which I thought was terrible.
Was that The Edge of Reason?
Yeah,
what was that?
It was terrible. It was like, it should have been Bridget Jones. What the fuck is the point? Mm-hmm. Because it was totally redundant. This is more like the first one. It just feels like it's done. It feels 90s. It feels early 2000s. It just feels like, yeah, we're done with this now. It's fine. There are some moments in it that are very funny, and the rest of it holds it together.
Yeah,
but it's not a great film, and it's not the audience.
I don't know
how
many Meet the Movie Press listeners.
No, I know. But their girlfriends and their mums and stuff like that might want to go and see it, but it's not.
It's it's like Josh and I had a funny conversation about like who would review it.
Yeah,
and we just agreed it's not really fair to the movie to have either one of us review it.
No, but I'm very open to this kind of movie. I actually enjoy this kind of movie genuinely, but I didn't take a lot away from it. It was like fine. Okay. Mr. Church.
Don't tell me who she winds up with.
Okay.
Just in case.
Okay. You're going to go watch that.
I already ordered the Mondo poster for Bridget Jones.
I've seen the ticket you've already pre-ordered on Fandango. Mr. Church is also out this week. Limited release.
Yep.
Eddie Murphy doing a sterling job.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a chance to see this movie, you absolutely should. You interviewed Eddie for this, right?
Did you see it? So you saw the movie?
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
You think you should absolutely see it?
I really enjoyed it. Is it a great movie? It's not a great movie. I loved Eddie Murphy in it. I just love seeing Eddie Murphy doing good acting, and not just the level of Beverly Hills Cop comedy stuff.
He was fine. I didn't think.
Made me cry.
I didn't think it was really.
Yeah, I genuinely found it quite
like
touching.
It was just kind of like comic, like it was like a caricature of an alcoholic. A little
spoiler,
bit. Please.
I really enjoyed it. I did genuinely enjoy it.
I thought it was a sweet movie, but just like something for Lifetime.
That's a fair criticism.
Yeah,
that's a fair criticism. But I think certainly if you compare it to other movies out there that are going to be soppy, sort of from the last year, soppy and going for the heartstrings, it has more substance.
I don't know. I don't know how good Brie Robertson is.
Well, she was fine.
Yeah.
People were raving about her. I thought she was fine.
People have been raving about that performance?
Yeah, well, I spoke to a couple of people, and they were like, oh, she's the shining light. And I was like, I much prefer Eddie Murphy.
I need to see something different from her, something new.
Yeah.
That movie was just so vanilla. It was...
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, I think, because it surprised me. I wasn't expecting much from it, and I got more from it than I thought I was going to get.
Well, I got to meet and interview Eddie Murphy.
You did, yeah.
And that should hopefully go up today. So...
It's not a wide release.
Yeah,
Not a
check it
huge
out.
amount of people are going to get the chance to see it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Eddie Murphy taking a chance and,
Yeah.
and doing something different and stepping away from the ridiculous comedies that no one should even entertain seeing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
He's back on track.
Yeah,
Well,
but
he's on
like,
A
but
track.
like the awards talk, and I don't even know if I don't even know if my piece mentions something like that. That's just not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Not with this movie.
I think
mean,
that has sprung out of
do
the
you
fact that because he's done so much shit, it's like, well, this is not shit.
It's really it's a testament to how amazing Sully is, made by a director. I don't know how old Clint is, 84 or 86, something like that. Bruce Beresford, who directed Mr. Church, is not a spring chicken either. And this movie, I felt like, just seemed like a golden oldie.
Yeah.
Like something from the past. So
I found it I liked it. I enjoyed it.
You know,
But we'll have to disagree on that one.
I saw Ben Wheatley's Free Fire in Toronto.
You did?
Yeah, I hated it.
What we had a discussion about Ben Wheatley last week.
Oh, really?
I mean, I've done stuff with Ben many times. I find a lot of his films, some of them anger me to the point where my piss curdles. Some I
the
go
piss
and I
curdling
watch
this guy.
2 or 3. I have a problem. I should go and see a doctor. Some of them I've watched 2 or 3 times.
What's your
then I
favorite?
got them as Sightseers.
Me too. That is mine as well. That's a good movie.
As we were saying last week, that's the only one that I've actually watched and gone, I enjoyed that. That entertained me.
Kill List is, I don't think...
Fucking annoyed me.
Yeah, I don't think it's a movie I'll ever see again. Like, a movie that I respect it more than I
Have you seen
really
Down
enjoyed.
Terrace, his first one?
You know, I feel like I have, but I can't say for sure.
It's interesting. Not a lot of people going in the whole scheme of movies have seen that film.
Right.
It's interesting. It's one of his more interesting pieces.
So his first 3 were interesting, and then to me, High Rise and this one were just like unwatchable films.
I haven't touched High Rise. I'm kind of
Unwatchable.
but
I saw Chadwick Boseman's Message from the King.
Ooh, okay.
Which is like, Taken, but he's trying to find his sister. I did not really enjoy it. It felt pretty low budge, and he's very one note. Like I think he's a very good like an impressionist. He did Jackie Robinson. He did James Brown. Those are still his best performances. That Black Panther movie is going to be very interesting because he kind of just has like this one, and I think they made fun of it in the Honest trailer for Captain America: Civil War, like where he just like stares off into the distance and like talks stoically in that accent, and I don't know, man. Otherwise, look for our review of The Edge of 17, which is the Toronto closer.
Yeah.
That goes up tomorrow night, I believe, on Mashable. American Pastoral, I saw Ewan McGregor's directorial debut.
Okay.
That's Philip Roth, always tricky. I didn't feel like Ewan really had the filmmaker skills yet to tackle that one. And then we're going to wrap up the Tiff conversation with Black Mirror.
yeah,
Are you a fan of that show?
I am. Yeah.
So I saw 2 new episodes, one with Mackenzie Davis and Gugu Mbatha-Raw.
Cool.
Which I liked but
I
didn't
love
love.
Gugu.
To me, it just wasn't dark enough. It was
Yeah.
more romantic, which is fine. But the second episode, which was Joe Wright's episode, who
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of,
Okay.
was terrific. And it's probably the best I've ever seen Bryce Dallas Howard. It is essentially set in the future where there's Yelp for people, and we all get rated for every interaction. So after this podcast, I would go, I'd give you 5 stars or something,
Thank
and
you.
would give me 5 stars. And it's about a woman whose rating starts to drop. And
That's really interesting.
yeah, it was
Nice.
fucking.
When's that?
super
When's that
crazy.
airing?
I think that Black Mirror hits Netflix next month.
Okay.
Around Halloween. That sounds about right.
Okay.
Anyways, that'll do it for Toronto. I mean, the other shit up there was the Birth of a Nation press conference that I did.
You hit the headlines.
Yeah,
with that one.
I got a little play. Dickie and I huddled up. If we got one question, what would it be? And so we just wanted to ask him about the double standard that I think Hollywood applies to Hollywood. Some people, everyone overlooks their transgressions. Nate Parker certainly being held more accountable than others, and I wanted to see how Nate felt about that. But he dodged every tough question up there. And yeah, it did feel like there was a lot of softball questions, and it took myself and Kara Buckley from the New York Times to sort of address the elephant in the room. And then the final thing that I did was the Hidden Figures presentation.
Yeah.
How do you think that looks? You've seen the trailer?
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to it?
To be honest with you, I'm undecided at the moment.
I felt like the footage was better than The trailer indicated it, and they're selling like a little bit more of a fun time in the trailer.
Yeah.
This, it could very well be an awards player. Janelle Monáe looked really terrific in it, the singer. So that's Toronto. Simon, whatever you want to talk about.
We'll move on to the next thing in just a second, but a bit of feedback in the chat is Bad Future. Just watched Bridget Jones's Diary for the first time last night. I loved it.
Okay.
And another film we haven't mentioned that comes out this week. This is from Zeno Hour. Snowden. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it, which I feel terrible about. I actually wanted to see it last night, but I didn't make it.
Now, I'm pretty surprised. There are a few films out this week that I really did expect there to be more buzz about. And Snowden, I thought there'd be a bit more buzz about it. I've seen a lot of advertising for it.
I feel like there is a ton of buzz. Like... I don't know. I feel like Joseph Gordon-Levitt... Huh?
Is it in the mainstream audience? I just don't think...
So where has Joe been? Joe was on Bill Simmons' show this week.
Yeah.
That was a nice get for them. I feel like maybe it's just the blogs that I read, but it feels omnipresent almost. It
does within the film fan sphere, but not... I just don't... The people outside of that,
I don't know because I don't have cable, so I don't see like the TV spots.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how, but it seems like it's getting a pretty significant release.
It is, yeah, it is. I'm just the every guy on the streets. I'm just not.
Well, a lot of people feel like they've seen that story before with Citizen 4, just like they're tired of reading about it. But also, so I don't think it's tracking very well.
No, I think wondering. We saw this with was it Fifth Estate?
Same thing.
I mean, a lot of people know about it and they know the news stories.
Right, but that's not why they go to the movies.
That's not why they go to the movies.
Yep.
I mean, I would like to see it. I will probably catch it when it comes on home entertainment or streaming, VOD, or on a plane. But I think up against things like Blair Witch, Magnificent Seven, and even Bridget Jones's Baby, I don't think that's going to get much of a look in this weekend. And Sully with a strong holdover from last week. I'm not sure that's going to get a...
Do you do Fantasy Movie League? I feel like you would enjoy it.
I don't.
You should sign up, buddy.
Maybe I will. What is it? I'm guessing it's a league.
Fantasy Movie League. It's like fantasy football, except you have a cinema, and there's 8 screens on the cinema, and you spend Fantasy Movie League bucks to buy movies to program. You're not spending any actual money to buy movies to program into your theater.
Yeah.
So like Blair Witch costs $350, so you could only afford 2 screens of Blair Witch. You have $1,000 to start with, right? And then you're filling it in with other titles. Maybe you get one Snowden. Maybe you do a Bad Moms, even though it's been out for 9 weeks, but because it's $20. It's fun.
Yeah, maybe I will do that. Add that to my list of
little
things
plug
to do.
for Fantasy Movie Leagues. I
like that.
Movies, whatever.
So let's look at what else.
Okay, let's start with friggin' Benicio del Toro.
Let's do it.
Wow, after all the names that I'd heard, from Tom Hardy to Christian Bale to James Franco
Channing
to
Tatum.
Mark Ruffalo, blah, 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 blah. They get Benicio del Toro for the Predator movie. I love the idea of him teaming up with Shane Black. I love the idea of him heading into the jungle to take on a fucking badass monster.
Yep.
Because who's more badass than the motherfucking Sicario?
I think I heard that and I was like, we've said this before, there's certain casting that you hear and you're just like, yeah, that's very watchable.
Yeah.
Very
and they were
watchable.
clearly, when you look at the caliber of all those people I just named, like they're all pretty good actors.
I also think he's going to be a good magnet.
So they were looking for one.
A good magnet to draw other people to the project, but interesting people, not the everyday standard. Let's get X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I think it's gonna attract a really nice, eclectic, interesting mix, kind of similar to the idea of the Magnificent Seven cast.
Sure.
And I think if they can kind of get that kind of cast, structure it right.
Was there a woman in the remake or the Predators with Adrian Brody? Has there been a woman?
There was a woman
teams?
in that.
Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a woman in that.
But there wasn't in the original, right?
In the Arnold Schwarzenegger one?
That was just a bunch of dudes,
No, that
right?
that was a total jungle sausage fest.
It'll be interesting to see what goes on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a good get for Predator. I'm now even more excited for that movie.
Yeah. Something else, we touched on his latest movie at the moment as well. Villeneuve. Talking obviously at Toronto this week about wanting to remake Dune.
You know, so I liked Denis. I was impressed by Arrival.
Obviously, he's doing Blade Runner 2 at the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's one of the most exciting filmmakers working these days. Dune. I actually don't know like anything about Dune.
Have you seen
I know
it?
it's a huge title. I know there's these giant sandworm things. But
You've not seen it? No.
I've never seen it. I have no desire to see it. I don't care.
It's visually impressive, and it's kind of in the realm for me with Blade Runner, where you watch it and you're kind of like, okay, and then you might fall in love with it instantly, or it might take a little while to get used to it, or you still might go, actually, no, I still don't like that. It's a very interesting visual film, and it's very creative, and it's beautiful to watch. It is dull as shit.
Yeah, that's sort of the impression I got from it. So.
And I think that was kind of around an era where you had a lot of these epic sci-fi films that people wanted to create effectively a new Star Wars or something around that. And, you know, the first Star Trek the motion picture, that is visually impressive, certainly at the time, but quite dull. Mm-hmm. Black Hole, which was a Disney movie from the 70s, kind of wanted to go big. That came off as being a bit dull and dark. Dune kind of falls into that camp where it's very ambitious and very visually impressive, but as a film and a piece of entertainment, it doesn't quite work. I mean, Dune is a huge book.
Yeah,
absolutely
who wrote it?
huge.
Is it William something?
I can't remember. Someone will know in the chat, but it's a huge book, and I think Hollywood hadn't perfected the idea of what to do with a massive book like that.
Yeah, I didn't really
Aside from the Bible, they did the Bible.
Didn't grow up a big sci-fi kid.
It's fine. It's
so.
worth watching purely for curiosity value, but it's not a film that you'll go, I'm really glad I watched that. But I would be interested in seeing his vision, but I don't want him to just be this guy who starts doing sequels or remakes to classic movies.
He won't do Dune.
So,
yeah.
yeah, like you said, I think it's just hey, I'd love to do this, like a lot of people say.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see it, but, you know, Dune, I'm kind of... That certainly didn't go... I think we need to see that film. Talking of epic sci-fi, Adam Driver this week, talking about Star Wars 8. We touched on this on the top of the show. He was saying the mood for Star Trek 8, the kind of the vibe, is more like The Empire Strikes Back, which is, I think, most people's favourite Star Wars film from the original series.
Mine's Return of the Jedi.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, dude, that's fine.
I like
Bridget Jones.
I like Jabba the Hutt.
Sweet. Who doesn't? I like big huts and I cannot lie. I'm never doing that again.
Somebody please
Yeah,
gif that, whatever the fuck it is.
Just edit that out. But yeah, so Star Wars 8 feels more apparently in tone like Empire Strikes Back, which I would genuinely welcome, as long as it doesn't feel too much like Empire Strikes Back in the way that
Star Wars felt, or
Force Awakens felt very much like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we've heard the edgier thing with Rogue One.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, on one side of the blogs that you read, it's the Adam Driver thing. On the other side, it's the exact same thing from Riz Ahmed talking about, you know, Rogue One. So I just don't put any stock in any of these quotes about, oh, it's like this and this is the tone, because these guys don't know. They just don't know. It's about the music once that's added, and, you know, they haven't seen it. I feel like the scripts.
have you read? No, you're talking about the script. I'm like, have you read the script?
No. I haven't
right.
read the script.
Okay.
No, I just okay. Adam Driver thinks it's edgier. Good for him. It's not edgy till one of us says it's edgy.
Okay, like, well, it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be like Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Okay, bro. Yeah.
It's not for actors to judge what's edgy and what's not.
That is true. And the answer, we got Dune described as John Carter of Mars, and it was Frank Herbert who wrote Dune. Books written by Frank Herbert for 5. Stan Lee
biopic. Who plays Stan Lee?
I'm going to go, I don't know, Kevin Hart, Jonah Hill. I don't know. I don't know. With this, because I don't know enough about what they. I mean, nobody does, but exactly what they want. Whether they want the same actor to play him throughout his life, whether they want to concentrate on the early part of his life and then go, oh, and then obviously all this happened, or whether they want to concentrate on kind of where, sort of the older adult life to where he is now. So I think where they pitch the story, I think would perhaps affect who they get to play it. Mm-hmm. Bryan Cranston, there was a poster that went around a long time ago, well, about 6 months ago, originally, with Bryan Cranston's face made to look like Stan Lee.
He's too old.
Is he?
Yes. You need This is Stan Lee in the 70s, right?
But yes. Stan Lee has always looked old.
You need like a 35-year-old guy who's like geeky. You're going to get like Elijah Wood. Who we fucking kidding?
Sorry, Elijah.
Well, there's also reports that it's going to be a action movie, an action adventure film.
Well, like because it's all taking place in his head, I'm sure. That's why.
Like all of the stuff that he's imagining that happens in his life he ends up putting on the page.
Right. Like he'll suffer some indignity and then like be the superhero in his head, like kicking ass.
The Secret Life of Stan Lee.
Exactly. There you go.
So it doesn't really matter. I mean, we're going to have fucking Key and Peele playing him. He really could be anybody in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anybody who comes to mind who looks like 70s era Stan Lee, but no doubt the producers will find someone just terrible.
I'm sure.
maybe Josh Gad will lose some weight,
Yeah.
Like he'll have like a Jonas, a slimming. We love Josh Gad. Josh Gad should play everybody.
Yeah. Not everybody. We don't want to get sick of him. We love him. We don't want to kind of soil that relationship.
Anyways, what was interesting, Joe Dante said that he was going to direct a Batman movie and he wanted to cast John Lithgow as the Joker. How awesome would this have been on a scale of 1 to 10?
I would have gone with a 7, possibly 8, because I love.
Yeah, I'm going 8.5.
John Lithgow.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, did you watch Dexter?
Yeah. Yeah, love Dexter.
So good on Dexter. Just imagine that.
I've been a fan of his for since I was a kid. But I mean, he did a film called Raising Cain in the early 90s.
Yep, that's good.
Absolutely genius. It bombed in the UK at theaters. Absolutely bombed. It really didn't do well. But it's genius. I absolutely love watching him in pretty much everything he did. He did a great love story movie with
called Harry
Alfred
and the
Molina.
Hendersons. Yeah,
Harry and yeah, of course. One Man in the Woods. What happens there? Yeah, John Lithgow in this film he did with Alfred Molina. They were played a gay couple. Brilliant.
Yes.
He can do
Love is what? Love is strange? No,
something like that. I can't remember the title of it. I saw it on a plane. Great movie. Literally anything that he does, I genuinely. I take something away from it. I actually take some enjoyment away from it. I think he's great.
He would have been very interesting.
Which made me think, now that idea is out there, it would be great to see him turn up in one of the current amount of movies out there, superhero movies.
As a villain?
As a villain.
Yes, yes.
Now, I don't know where he would fit in or what they could do, but if he can't be the Joker, he would be seriously good as a maniac, as some sort of maniacal character. And then a younger generation would be aware of the brilliance of John Lithgow, and I can appreciate him a bit more because he's a great actor.
I want to see him versus Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Third Rock battle.
Yes. That is cool. I saw John on stage at the National Theatre in London about 2 years ago, and he's just everybody was there, to see the play, but also just to see John Lithgow. It was like, oh, he's very good. Oh, he's amazing, isn't he? Oh, I love him. The whole theatre was full of John Lithgow fans. So come on,
what do they call?
To do that?
What do they call those fans? They need like a name.
Lithgowians. Lithgangers.
Speaking of the Joker, he ain't gonna be in the Justice League, according to who? Who said that?
I don't know. I saw this story this week. I'm not sure who the source was.
Was it Umberto?
It could be. I don't know.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed about that because I did like him in Suicide Squad. He was one of the parts that I actually came away going, that was a highlight for me.
He's barely on screen.
He is barely on screen. But if they're carrying characters through, as they often do in these things, I would have liked to have seen a bit more. We have had the discussion previously about, a lot of his stuff being left on the cutting room floor. if he'd have been in Justice League, even in a small way, I would have actually quite enjoyed that.
Batman teaming up with all those guys to take down the Joker, I think would be so much more interesting than him taking down whatever the fuck he's taking down in this movie. It's going to be terrible. What is it? It's not Apocalypse. Who is the?
They all sound like deodorant names.
Who is that deleted scene that in Batman vs Superman that he's going to be the villain? What is the fucking called?
I've forgotten. I haven't revisited Batman vs Superman. Do a little Google. But yeah, I was kind of like a little bit genuinely disappointed by that. But I think I know some of the comments were taken out of context. We discussed that before. It was El Mayimbe. I think I would have enjoyed seeing some more of him in there. Can you not find it? You're doing a Google.
Dark Side?
Dark Side?
Dark Side? I don't know. I don't know any of these fucking people.
Someone in the chat will...
It's Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah, I was like, it's some
I was like, what?
obscure rock band.
Yeah, 1970s rock band.
Hell yeah, Steppenwolf.
God,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. These fucking
I don't
movies.
think it's Jesus Christ.
These friggin' movies.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah, I agree with you. I think if it had been all the guys taking on the Joker, that would have been pretty good. But that's not what it is. So.
All right.
This week, something as a director in a project that doesn't excite me, but the star attached to it does make me more interested in it. Mark Waters, who directed Mean Girls. And obviously, if that is the film that you're still best associated with after all these years, I'm not aware of him doing a huge amount after that. I may be wrong on that. But he's going to direct a film called Magic Camp. Again, film, don't know a huge amount about. Not particularly interested in it at this point. Then I read that Steve Martin is potentially attached as the lead. And I was thinking only a couple of weeks ago how long it has been since Steve Martin has had a major movie where he's the main star. And I would really like to see that.
I mean, I think that it'll be a kid who's the star. I think this is going to be like an Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day kind of thing. Like in terms of budget and, the audience that they're aiming for.
Yeah.
I think Steve Martin will be the adult who maybe teaches this kid magic. And I think Steve Martin grew up a fan of magic and wants to keep it alive because it seems to be a dying art. Kids used to get their magic kits and...
Yep.
And now they're playing video games. So hopefully this movie will keep that alive because I love magic as much as anyone and want to believe in it and always enjoy going to the Magic Castle. Send me tickets.
I've never been there.
Oh, man. You got to go. Take your wife.
Or maybe I have.
Oh!
No, I would love to go there.
So, yeah, again, this isn't a big Disney movie by any stretch. But... yeah, always good to see more Steve Martin, and I am looking forward to seeing him and Billy Lynn. That's right.
Yeah, that's out next couple of months.
That comes out in November, I believe, but because it debuts at the New York Film Festival.
It does, indeed.
So,
but yeah, Steve Martin, we just haven't seen him on the big screen in a significant role. When was the last time we saw that? It's been a few years, right? I can remember.
Tell you, yeah.
But I was watching something that he was in. I can't remember what it was quite recently. I was just like, really would be good to see him back.
Oh, everybody loves
back
Steve
on the big
Martin.
screen. He's great, and I think in the same way that recently we heard with obviously the passing of Gene Wilder that there are kids that relate to some of these older actors in a different way. I could see him kind of fulfilling that kind of role within a younger audience, and then people discovering his work. Even the most accessible stuff like, say, Three Amigos. I'm not talking kids are going to start watching The Jerk, although they should. It's a fucking good film. But yeah, I think that would be great. I'd love to see that, as long as it's not too watered down.
A couple of other things that may be coming back to the big screen.
Cool.
Somebody wants to make The Rundown 2?
Yes, Peter Berg. He wants to make The Rundown 2, which in the UK was called Welcome to the Jungle. Because it was in a jungle, I guess, and I don't know, it was weird change of name.
And who does he want to join
He wants
Dwayne
Jonah
The Rock
Hill,
Johnson?
because obviously it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Sean William Scott in the original. He wants Jonah Hill to appear in it. Now, I would be open to that, because I think it was last week or the week before I said this. I enjoy Jonah Hill doing daffy performances. And I think that would be quite fun, and we haven't seen him really, unless I mean, kind of touched on it in War Dogs, but kind of the action comedy stuff that's more, 20, 21, 22 Jump Street, but a bit more physical than that. Kind of pratfally.
I'm not sure about that pairing of The Rock and Jonah Hill. I don't know if I see that working out.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, this is probably something that will never happen.
Yes,
But-
I think another rundown would be extremely unlikely, and I think that, with Deepwater Horizon and Patriots Day, I think Peter Berg is going to the next level, and so the rundown too would probably be a little bit beneath him at this point, unless he, wanted to just return to produce. And yeah, The Rock is like the busiest guy in Hollywood, so I don't see him
wouldn't have time.
making a, I don't see this taking priority on his schedule,
No,
given
I don't see that.
what he is attached to.
Well, I'm intrigued by that idea. I'm intrigued by that.
I don't see Jonah running through the jungle either. I don't think that's his bag. Dax Shepard looks like he's being entrusted with Scooby-Doo up at Warner Brothers, a live-action movie. I really like him. I liked his directorial debut, Hit and Run. Did you see that with
Yes,
Kristen
I did.
Bell?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Very tiny movie. Not a lot of people saw it, but I've seen it a few times, and it was a lot of fun. And he just did the Chips movie, which I think will be cool with Michael Pena.
Yeah, that's been delayed, though, for release, hasn't
Yes,
it? I mean, I know
yes.
I got an email about some preview screenings not for press people
Well,
a little while ago.
You know what I think that's about?
It's not very good?
No.
Okay.
Timing. Cops. Think about it.
Yeah, good point.
I really think that
I had not thought about
you
that.
know what? I'm gonna. That might be a story. I wonder if that movie is being delayed because of what is going on with cops in this country and people's attitude towards them.
That's true.
Anyways, I like Dax on Scooby-Doo. He seems like the right fit for that material.
Yeah.
And he could either be Fred or Shaggy.
Yeah. I know. I was like, again, mentioned it earlier in the show. Sometimes you hear things and you're like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
How it hasn't happened
Sometimes
earlier, I don't
Hollywood
know.
gets it right, folks.
Yeah.
So
That's clearly if someone's had a couple of glasses of champagne and go, you know what would be really good is blah 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 doing blah blah blah, and then the next day they're in the staff meeting in the morning and they go, last night you said this. I said what? It's like, great idea. Yeah, I remember saying that. So it was cool.
There's more stuff with cops. A few things, actually. So
Okay.
just really quickly, I wanted to plug Jeff Ross's special in which he roasts Boston cops.
Saw you tweeting about this.
Yep, it was really good. If you've seen Jeff Ross's special where he roasts prisoners in Texas, this is something similar. There's a lot of facts about cops. You see him sort of introduce cops to the community, to the people who they would just never meet a cop under those circumstances where they're shaking a cop's hand and getting to know a cop. Not every encounter has to be contentious, and so a lot of fun. That one, check that out. It's on iTunes or Comedy Central. Speaking of funny cops, Rob Lowe, who is just roasted by Jeff Ross.
Yes.
Also check that out. The roast of Rob Lowe is hilarious. He has joined Super Troopers 2.
Yeah.
The funniest cops on the planet are coming back in a kick-started sequel.
When Super Troopers came out in the UK, it wasn't something that was particularly huge. I championed that movie so hard, and it didn't do box office at all.
Well, you've
I
been
was
there in the back of the
upset.
car eating weed, right, Simon? Just
It's regular fucking Saturday.
right. It's just a snack.
That's what I do. You know me.
Super Troopers. I never loved the movie, but it was funny enough, and I think that I would totally go see a sequel at, like late at night one night, under the influence of nachos and who knows what else.
Yeah, I just genuinely enjoyed it. It was kind of one of those. There's a group of like silly movies that just happen to be about sort of law enforcement. There's Reno 911 Miami, which I genuinely find stupid and hilarious. Super Troopers, really enjoyed. There was a few of those films that came out within a couple of years of each other that I was just like, that was a real breath of fresh air. Smaller movies, didn't do huge box office, but just played well.
I like Let's Be Cops, which came out a year and a half ago or whatever.
I found that more entertaining than I thought I would.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest with you.
I liked Let's Be Cops, and it made a nice amount of money for Fox. It was, that and Fault in Our Stars was the cheapest films that they produced that year.
Wow.
And Let's Be Cops made like $80 million or something. So, and it cost like $20. So, it did all right. I don't know why we haven't heard about another sequel. But there's more cop stuff. There's just a lot of fucking cops, bro. Jeff Nichols doing an Alien Nation movie.
This broke as we were doing the show last week. And it's something I wanted to talk about. We didn't. Very excited about this.
I think Jeff Nichols has been on the precipice of signing on to one of these big movies for a while. There's obviously been a lot of rumors about him being quoted for Aquaman that didn't end up working out. But Alien Nation, and then there's been a lot of speculation about whether Michael Shannon's going to be involved and whether he'd be the cop who's sort of like dismissive of this alien next to him, or if he'd be the alien since he's already super fucking weird.
I could see him working in both those parts.
Yeah, both. You know what?
I love
I'd cast him in both. Both. Oh my god, we just hit it.
Boom!
Like Tom Hardy in Legend.
We totally did it.
Double the Michael Shannon.
That would work. You could build that into the thing about
God.
physical assimilation.
Right.
Just nailed it. Well done. Hollywood, you can finish early.
Every human
Go
has
home.
an alien counterpart
that
looks like them.
That would be cool.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Man, Jeff Nichols, hire me.
Okay, so what is it now? It's 10:07 on Friday morning. Hollywood, you can go home. We've done it.
Yep.
Done it. We nailed it.
Pack up, go home, Hollywood.
I rewatched Alien Nation quite recently, actually. I got the DVD for like $3 on Amazon, and I was like, do you know what? Yeah, fuck it. I haven't seen this for a while. I'll buy it and I'll watch it. I've forgotten how much fun that is. It's a great action movie from that era that kind of had. It just hit.
It was a TV series as well, right?
It was a TV series. Yeah,
that's how I really remember it. I don't even know if I saw the movie.
James Caan.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I wasn't.
I
wasn't a sci-fi fan when I was a kid. I was like, aliens, whatever.
You were too busy out chasing ladies. Chasing
ladies. A lot of schoolyard
in a good
crushes.
way, not in a get in my car.
More cop news. Johnny Depp looking to investigate the Biggie Tupac murders.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of cool, I guess. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
I didn't figure him as someone who had much interest in that area. I kind of figured him, if he was going to do something like that, he would do something that was more leaning towards rock. But I would like to see what he does. I think it'd be interesting to see who he gets involved on that project.
Yeah.
I think that would be quite interesting.
A couple more tidbits because we got to wrap the show up. Conrad Vernon, the co-director of Sausage Party, is going to do the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah,
it was going to be Steve Pink before. Toxic Avenger, another like '80s property that I just have no affinity for. I don't know why this movie is being made. It's like a kind of schlock title, and I don't think that there's a lot of demand for a new one. Where do you fall on things?
I agree.
This was supposed. Is Schwarzenegger still involved in this? He was at one point.
He was, yeah. For a while, it was like almost like a done deal, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case anymore.
But it's been pretty quiet for a while on that.
I didn't know if you had any personal anecdotes regarding the Toxic Avenger.
I mean, I remember seeing it as when I hired it on VHS in the end of the 80s. And Trauma, Kabuki Man and stuff like that, were around. There were lots of things on TV, documentaries about, Trauma and Kaufman, and it was kind of like that was the asylum of the day.
Right.
But I mean, in the UK, they were more popular in the UK from an American pop culture kind of way than they were being particularly popular films, and they were available, but it was more at the very niche end. If you were into that kind of film, it was more the niche end of the genre. But I mean, it's
just funny what gets remade just because there's some element of nostalgia.
I mean, it's funny. I was going to say that I don't think there's that much nostalgia around it that would be enough to power excitement for a remake. But sometimes that works in its favor with a project because it isn't it doesn't have, say, I don't want to touch on again the Ghostbusters thing where people feel such an affinity with it when you remake it that can create a lot of negativity. Sometimes it's easier to remake something that doesn't have that connection.
Well, I wonder if there'll be negativity surrounding this breaking news that Relativity is going to be remaking High Noon.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that inspired by the positive buzz around Magnificent Seven? Are we going to see a spate of Western
that
remakes?
is interesting. That timing. Yeah. Will we see a new Wild Bunch?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I bet that you will. If Magnificent Seven is really successful, I bet that you will.
Interesting. Because it's funny that previously, I mean, aside from the golden age of Westerns in cinema, when you suddenly have a slew of Westerns, they kind of... interest wanes quite quickly, as it does with many kind of niche
you
bits.
could almost call this a Western. It's set in the West, I think. I don't even know. But there's going to be another Shanghai Noon.
Yes, we discussed that last week.
Oh my goodness. Jared Hess is signing up for whatever the hell this thing is going to be. And I guess that's because Jackie Chan just had a huge hit with that movie in China.
Yep.
It opened to like $60 million over there.
And went straight to VOD
you know, if they
here.
make this movie... Yeah, but if they make this movie for a cost and get it a China release, it's raining money.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan. He doesn't seem like he's that big a star anymore over here, but he's still Jackie Chan around the world.
Well, he's at the moment, we touched on this last week, but he's currently in Australia making the largest non-China filmed Chinese movie. It's like a big Chinese action movie set in Australia. And so he's still, there's obviously, as you say, a lot of money behind him. And we mentioned this last week, but he's going to be obviously receiving the Oscar for Lifetime Achievement as well. Mm-hmm. So, you know, he's back.
I guess so.
But he never went away. But it seems that Hollywood, he's back in Hollywood.
Speaking of back in Hollywood, I got 2 stories left. Mark Romanek, or Mark Romanek. I never know how to pronounce his last name. He's doing a romantic comedy called Septillion to One. And if you had asked me the least likely director to take on a romantic comedy, I think it might have been him. I'm glad to see him working again. I'm a big fan of his films.
Okay.
I wish that some of his other stuff had worked out. I think he was on The Boston Strangler for a little while. He may have even been on the Overlook Hotel, the Shining prequel thing.
Yeah.
Like Warner Brothers really likes him. I think this movie is for STX. So good luck to Mark on going out and doing something a little bit different. Did you ever see that British film Never Let Me Go?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Oh, it was okay.
Oh, that was a movie that I was just it was so devastating.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
And we're going to end, I think, the show with a little flash stuff
Of news,
right?
not nobody's going to drop their trousers.
Oh yes, that's
what we always
But Billy, our pal Justin Kroll reported that Billy Crudup
Yes.
joining the Flash as Barry Allen's father. I love this. I love Billy Crudup. He was fantastic, actually, in Jackie, which I saw in Toronto. He's like the journalist who's interviewing her.
Yep.
I enjoyed his turn as Dr. Manhattan, Almost Famous. He's the man.
I will watch him in anything.
He's just so interesting.
I'm surprised he's not. I'm still surprised he's not a bigger star.
He doesn't want to be, I don't think.
But audiences like him. They like him, and I think this is great. I would genuinely welcome that. Can't get enough of him.
Super cool.
Always adds an element of class to everything that he does.
And I can actually see him as Ezra's father. Like he kind of, I could see that being his progeny.
So what are you doing this week?
Oh, Emmy stuff.
Apart from sleeping.
I do. I'm gonna go home and sleep possibly.
Nice.
Catching up on Toronto stuff. I'll have a recap of Midnight Madness for you on the site. I'm working on a Monster Calls review, The Edge of 17 review. I just have a lot going on. So wish me luck. Say a prayer.
Sweet. Well, today, very busy day for me. Jay Roach. Having a chat with Jay Roach this afternoon,
Cool.
which is cool. Actually, I've literally got to go home straight away and do the phone call.
Does he make you horny, baby?
All right, baby. Great Meet the Fockers reference there.
That's not what that is.
I know.
What?
I know. It's Austin Powers. And then tonight, it's the first night of Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios in Hollywood. So I'm doing red carpet for that. So I'm getting to chat to Eli Roth. I'll have some news from that next week. Linda Blair, Seth Green, the guys from American Horror Story.
In case you're wondering who turns out for the premieres of Universal Halloween Horror Nights.
I'm going through the Exorcist maze with Linda Blair tonight. Does her mother suck cocks in hell? I will find out.
We'll have that and more
Next
next
week.
week's Meet the Movie Press. Guys, thanks for listening to the Popcorn Talk Network. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Simon, where can the good folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ShowbizSimon, and on Facebook, This is Simon Thompson, THOMPSON.
And I'm Jeff Sneider. You can find me over at Mashable, full-time now, full-time, breaking news, and you can see my stuff on Twitter at the InSneider. Guys, have a great weekend. We'll be back next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.